Hello, how's it going everyone? I hope you're having a good day. So today we're going to be going over 4 steps that you can take to actually speed up your image heavy website. So what I'm actually talking about here is basically how heavy your website is and each individual post or page on your site. So that's based on the actual size of the page or post. So this can range from varying sizes of 1 megabyte ranging all the way up to wherever you may have it. So it could be up to like 10 megabytes. So the general idea that you want to gather or understand is that the larger your website in size, the more heavy it is. And what that does in return is actually slow down your site speed. So you may have realized when you've gone onto some sites and you notice that it's just really laggy and just really slow, and it's almost an effort to actually browse and just use any basic features on the site. Well, that's usually because someone has over optimized with the images, and basically they've got too many image files that are weighing down their site. So that's something that we're going to discuss today on exactly how you can actually avoid that and just really get some good habits to making sure that you keep your pages nice and light and moving fast and efficiently. Okay, so the 4 things we're going to be covering inside of this video is going to be 1, how to resize your images. So I generally go for around 850 by 350 pixels and 120 KB max. And then 2, how to convert all of your images to JPEG. Then 3, we're not going to overdo it with images and videos, and we're going to keep it moderate. So I'm going to go over that in depth of exactly how to do so. And then 4 is going to be how to actually check your site on pingdom.com. Now that's just a website that can be used to check how fast your website is loading. Okay, so we're going to get straight into that. So the first things first, and that's going to be basically to really go over exactly why you would want to format your images and what the main benefits are. So on average, images make up around 21% of your total web page's weight. So when it comes to optimizing your WordPress website, after video content, images are by far the best place you should start. So I've actually listed out a few of the main benefits, and that's where you can find all of this information inside of the description box of this YouTube video. So I've got a few sites here that I actually recommend, and there's EWWW Image Optimizer, which also comes in a plugin for WordPress. So you can either use the option of downloading the plugin and using that from the WordPress marketplace, or you can use the cloud service, and that also does the same facility. So obviously you can just read down here and get an idea of exactly what these 2 tools do. Okay, so what we're going to actually go over to first of all is I'm going to show you through 2 different methods of how to resize your images. So say for example you might have a big image. So if we were to take like any random image, just say for example off of pexels.com. So this is a stock image website, so you can find free stock images. So let's just say we talk about let's have a look. I don't know what to put, so we'll put anything. So all we're going to do is find this image of these people. So we'll download that to my desktop. Once we've got that image, you'll see that the image is quite big. So what we're going to do is open that image up in Photoshop. Okay, so what we're going to do is open that there. And this is the image. So you can see down here that is like 8 megabytes. So the idea is, ideally, you would like your whole post, like a whole web page, to be under 2 megabytes. And if you can, under 1. You know, so 2 megabytes is reasonable. 1 is great and fantastic. But you don't want to be anywhere kind of, you know, into the 4s, 5s, and 6 megabytes plus. So just this image alone is bigger than like 4 of my pages. You know, so this could really weigh down a website, and especially if you were to place this straight onto your site, you know, you would be none of the wiser and you'd be experiencing a very slow user experience. So what I actually generally do is I've got a template that I create and I just save it, so I'll be able to edit this on multiple occasions. So if you are not using Photoshop, then I'm also going to show you how to do this on Canva, which is a free online tool that you can do the same thing as what I'm doing here. So if I were to start this, I'll just click new, and then I'm going to do a width of 850 pixels and a height of 350 pixels. Then I'm just going to create that. So that's going to be created. So what I'm going to do is make sure this is just empty. So delete that. Come back over here. Now I'm going to drag that photo in and then drop it. So now I'm going to press Command T and then Command and minus. That will allow me to zoom out. And then I'm going to shrink this image, Command plus to zoom back in, enter. So now you can see the image here. Let's have a look. Might need it just a little bit bigger, and enter. So now I've got the same image. As you can see, it's like this cut into that. But the difference is when I actually save this now, so what I'm going to do is save this as a JPEG. So it was initially a JPEG, but you can see 8.58, and let's see where it is at the moment. So it's all the way down to 2 megabytes. Okay, and you ideally want this in kilobytes. So I believe there's around 1,000 kilobytes to 1 megabyte. Let me just see, MB to KB. Let's have a look. Yep, that's correct. So what we want to do is make it 120 kilobytes, which brings it down to only 0.12 of a megabyte. So it's only like a 1/10 of a megabyte, or a 1/12, you could say. Yeah, or 1/10, yeah, 1/10. So basically, what we're going to do to shrink it right down is I'm going to click File, Save As, and then when I save this, I'm actually going to select JPEG. But what I want to do, test image, is basically you can choose quality here. So this is what Photoshop allows you to do. I usually leave it at around 8 for my website. So for my site, I'll shrink it down to about 8. So it's still high quality, but it's not maximum. Okay, so 8 is where I'll leave it, and then I'll click OK. So then you'll see that pop up here. And then if we were to look at that image, it doesn't look much different to what we had, you see. But this one is actually a reduced quality. Now, if we look at the information on this, we can see the size of the file. So look, 115 KB. So we're under the threshold that I'm looking for, or 112 up there. I'm not sure why it's 112 and 115 there, but maybe, I don't know, it's adding something on to hold it on the disk here. But 112 KB, which is perfect. So we got it all the way down from 2000, which it was here. So initially it was like at 8,000 KB, 8,500 KB, down to 2,000 KB, down to 112 KB. Okay, so that's the way I do it on there. Now, there's a second option that's also free that allows you to shrink these images on whether you're on using a PNG file or a JPEG. So that is something that you can do from just going up to this site called Tiny PNG. I personally don't use it because I don't need to, but you can use this. And all you would do is basically drag the file. So I would personally still want to cut this image down to this, and the reason why I use 800 by 350 is because it looks neat on my website. I do this with all of my images, and it keeps it very uniformed looking on the website. But not only that, this is around the width of a website page, and this looks really nice as a height as well. So it's not taking up the whole kind of page when someone's looking through, when someone's viewing, sorry. And then the most important thing as well is that this also really shrinks down really, really good, and it looks really nice for mobile, which obviously a majority of people are going to view your website on. So what I do is you could just drag this over. So if we had the initial image, you could drag it in here, and that will compress it. So you can see it doesn't get it down to where I had it, but it's still pretty good. Okay, so that's not the best, but it's doing something. So it's getting it down to 300 KB. Now let's check if we were to drag this image over what it does, because this one comes right down to 111, which is roughly where I had it anyway, so that's not too bad. Okay, oh no, 97, yeah, okay, that's what it looks like. Then what we can also do is, there's a site called Canva. So what I'm going to do is take you over to canva.com. Okay, so I'm going to go over to Canva. Got to log in with this. I did used to use my Google. I haven't logged into this in a while, so let's see. Okay, so what you actually have to do is click home, and when you get onto home you type website into here, and this will give you like a rough sizing. So you got 1350 by 650, which is still a bit big in my eyes, but you can change this, so you're not stuck with it. You can change it, but this gives you like a lot of different designs that you can actually use. So this could be good for the heading of a post. So, you know, like actually at the top of a website, creating a blog post or something with Pinterest. So, you know, when you see those Pinterest type blog posts at the top, let's just have a look if we can find one. And people use Pinterest. Yeah, so this is a good example. So you see how they've got this at the top of the post, and then they've got these things. So a great way of doing this type of thing is simply by coming onto a site like Canva. So this will allow you to do something like that. I could like literally just put that in there and then just edit that and make it, you know, like whatever, test page, you know, and you can mess around with that, so it's, you know, all in one and whatever. But yeah, so that's a great way of doing it. Now you can just have a blank canvas, so you could also do that. Like I said, you're just gonna have to mess around with this thing. I haven't used it in a long time, but it's very easy to use. And what it is if you had the image, so let's just say delete group. Okay, so what you would want to do is upload an image. So if I were to upload an image, you could upload that initial image that we had. Okay, so I'm going to upload that, and then I'm going to drag it onto the actual canvas. Okay, and let's have a look. So you've got templates here, folders. I'm not exactly sure where you resize this, but it will be very simple to do. It's not going to be very difficult. Let's have a look. Yeah, so right now I can't seem to find it, but if we just go to uploads, we get that image. You can see here how you would do this. So you'd get this image and do the same thing as what I did before. So that's the image there, and we're going to check how small we can get this. So once we've got that, we're going to download it as a JPEG, so small file size. Yeah, so we're still keeping the quality, but we're downloading it as a JPEG. Okay, so we're going to see how big this is. Okay, so we've got that there on the desktop. I'm going to click get info, and it's down to 915. So that's still not where we want it, because that's still very high. But this is why I would highly recommend you just get Photoshop. But if you can't afford that because it's a monthly fee, then this is what you'd have to do, unfortunately. So then what we would do after we've actually done that is we would then use something like Tiny PNG, and then we would drag this in. So we've got the sizing, and we would drag it in and try and convert it to a much smaller. So 174, which is, you know, reasonable. So it's just saved me 81%, you know, all of this. So it's reasonable. It's still not exactly, you might even be able to do it again. So I'm not sure on that. Let's see if we replace that. And let's see if we drag it back in. Yeah, see, so that gets it down to 97.4. So now we had to do it twice, but let's see the quality of that. And I mean, having the time to do that. Oh no, that wasn't even the image, so it was this one here. Let's have a look. It was that one. So it gets it down to 146. You see, it's not great, but it will do. And let's have a look. Yeah, so let's check the information on that. 147. So yeah, and let's see the image quality. So it's reasonable. You know, it's not the best, not the worst, but the image initially still had that kind of retro look. So you can see how obviously this comes together. So that's the idea behind that. Okay, so don't overdo it with images and videos. Keep it moderate, and even when optimized, you can still overdo it. So do not excessively use images and videos on your posts. It's good to have a good variation of that, but you don't want to overdo it. Everything's great with a bit of moderation. Okay, so you do not want to excessively just blast your website with lots of images and videos all over. Okay, so that's that. And then the last but not least is to check this all with pingdom.com. So this is a site where it lets you actually check your website speed. So depending on, you know, what site you have and blah blah blah, you can check the speed. And pingdom, let's just type pingdom speed test. Okay, it's a free test, it's completely free to use. And let's just click there. Let's have a look. Yep. Okay, so you want to select your location, and next you want to place your site inside. So if we had the, you know, Pinterest, just say for example what we were looking for before. Let's have a look if we can find a random website. So this site here, this is someone's blog. So all we're going to do, this is all you would do with your site, is just paste it in here, and you would say start test, and it will basically test it from your location. So you can change the location depending on where you think your traffic's coming from. And this is it. So it's going to run this test, and it's going to give you all of this data once it does complete the test. So we're just going to wait on that. So as you can see, once the test is complete, it will bring you to this page, and it will give you like a performance grade. And the most important metric is not actually the loading time. Now, ideally, you know, 1 second, 2 seconds is great, but it's more so the page size. So you want the size to be, you know, this is still reasonable. So like 4, it's not the end of the world. It could be better, but if it is this size, then try and, you know, get those images a bit smaller. If we were to check those person's images, we may be able to find that some of them are quite large. I can easily just check those by just saving them to desktop, and let's see if we get some info on that. So they're like 200 kilobytes, you know, so it's not exactly the biggest image. They've got a video there. This looks reasonable. So it looks quite reasonable. So, you know, you want quite a lot of images still. Like this is great. So this is not overdoing it. You want a nice even balance like this. This is nice moderation here. So you can see they've still established a page 1 ranking with a size of 4 megabytes. So obviously that shows you that you can have that with, you know, a page that size. And then any problems that you may potentially have, this site will also suggest to you to fix. So all of this technical stuff, you know, you might not be able to do, but one thing you can do is, you know, reduce the size of your images. So always look out for if it's giving you that, and then URL redirects, you could fix that kind of thing. And then it's going to give you, you know, request by content, gives you all of these metrics and your font, etc, etc. And then down here you can see a few more of the metrics, and this is a Dns Ssl Certificate. So it's telling you everything which took long and how long it took. So what took up the longest part. So here you can see this one did. So these are things that you might want to change depending on if you can change it. And you can see here, like this is like the Twitter widget on the page. You've got the linkedin.com plugin, post planner, so that's the site. So wherever they got this, like Twitter and all of that, you see like this stuff, that's all representing this information that we were just looking at, like the Twitter widget, etc. And this is showing you, let's have a look. So it's showing you file, it's a bit of code. Not exactly sure what exactly that's representing, but this is just giving you an indication as to what each specific file is basically loading with, so how long it takes to load. And that's it. That's exactly how you will reduce your images on a heavy site. And by doing so, you'll be able to speed up your site and thus increase a better user experience. So don't focus solely on loading time. Ideally, you know, if you can get this under 2 seconds, brilliant. But most important is to get this down. You want to see the size of your page, and then that will indicate as to how long it will probably take, because this is going to depend on your server time, and also obviously, you know, the theme you're using. Everything can come into play with this. So just mainly focus on the size of the page and you should be good with that. I hope this video was helpful. If you did find it useful, then make sure to subscribe, and thank you for subscribing if you are new to the channel and you've just joined the family. And if you did like this video, make sure to leave a like on the video, and any questions, make sure to leave them below because I'll get them answered. Thank you and have a good day.